Ask the Messengers, the program that deals with substance abuse, real people telling real stories. Hosted by Pastor Lester Lewis, co-host Charlize Wilkerson and Leroy Carey. Produced by David Humphreys. Where there is addiction, there is a chance for recovery. We're trying to help save lives on Ask the Messengers.
This week on Ask the Messengers TV show, we had the opportunity to talk with a couple of well-known guys with catchy names, DJ Fingers and Joe Zago, also known as the Carpet Guy. I'm your host, Lester Lewis, and this week's episode, we're going to be talking with these individuals. They're going to be sharing their stories. DJ Fingers is going to talk about how he remained clean in the club, and Joe Zago is going to talk about how he went through and endured and now is on the other side of recovery. Ask the Messenger starts right now.
Be wise, call the Carpet Guys. That's 855 for my guys.
So how did you get introduced to alcohol?
The first time I got drunk, I was 15, and I was at my sister's house in North Carolina, and I just got in trouble for shoplifting down there. And we were playing a game called Quarter Bounce, and it's the first time I ever played. First time I ever drank. And so I didn't know my limits with alcohol or whatever. Needless to say, I got really drunk. I started a fight with the guy across the street. My brother-in-law went outside with a gun, and it was a really, crazy thing. And I didn't drink again after that until several years later. I wound up having to go and do some time at a boarding school out in Massachusetts through the courts. And I got out of there when I was 19 and a half years old. And the next time that I drank was, I worked at Chi-Chi's restaurant. When I got out of the boarding school, I worked at the Big Y grocery store, Chi-Chi's restaurant in Pittsfield Movie Cinema. And I had to get 3 jobs because I was living in a Fitch's Motel, which is a homeless shelter by the Red Cross, put me in. And a baseball scout from the Pittsfield Mets, who had saw me play, which was the farm club for the New York Mets. He saw me play ball when I was at boarding school. He came to talk to me about, taking a tryout. And it was always my dream as a little kid, from 6 to 9 years old, to be in the major leagues. And I used to sign my autograph and say, "Mom, you keep this someplace safe because one day I'm going to be the next Roger Clemens, and this will be worth a lot of money. So keep it. This is your retirement." I believed that when I was a little kid. And so when the scout came I worked at Chi-Chi's restaurant, and I was a host, so I had to say, "Welcome to Chi-Chi's, home to the Santa Fe enchilada. It's stacked, not rolled. The margarita of the month is the Cinco Rita." I mean, I had to memorize.
So you got to
this
memorize.
stuff.
You still have to memorize.
Because we had QSCs, which stood for Quality Service Control, secret shoppers, basically.
Yeah.
And so if I didn't say something, or if there was the newspaper wasn't updated in the bathroom, or there was toilet paper on the floor, I was in deep trouble.
Right.
So a guy came in, and I sat him at his table, and then he asked to talk to my manager. I'm like, "Oh shoot, what did I do? I got the margarita. I got the Santa Fe enchilada. It is stacked, not really." So I said, "What did I do wrong?" And then my manager told me to take a break and then go sit down with this guy. So I'm thinking, "Oh my gosh, I'm in trouble." And he was a scout for the Pittsfield Mets,
right.
And he asked me to come the next morning for a tryout down at the stadium at 7 a.m. And so I was just geeked. And so I went back and I told my roommate, which is the cook back there, his name was Kendall, and he was my best friend, and they threw this great big party for me. And it was the first time that I've ever smoked weed in my entire life. And it was the second time in my life that I drank, and I got blackout drunk. And the next day, I woke up around noon, so I missed my tryout. I had a beeper. I didn't have a cell phone back then, and there was like 13 or 14 missed pages that 911, and I didn't call the guy back. And it was the first time that I ever really recognized self-sabotaging behavior. Well, that I recognized it, because for whatever reason, I don't know if I just didn't feel that I was worthy of accomplishment. I always wanted to achieve, but when it came to the point where I would get really close to some sort of success and actually accomplishing something, really breaking through and hitting a goal, I would always self-destruct right before it. And I don't know if it was because I was afraid of failure, or if I was afraid that I would try my hardest and I just wouldn't succeed, or I just didn't feel like I was worthy of it. But then what I did is I drank some more, because it felt good to escape, and that's where it began. I was 19. And
now, also in your story, you shared about how you were you managed a nightclub.
I was a promoter.
And can you tell us about
that was
your experience
fast
there?
forward a few more years. I think I got into the nightclub industry because it felt good to feel important, and I wanted to feel accepted. And I think that when I got into the nightclub industry, you know, girls started really noticing me, and it felt good to get attention from females. Now, they might have just wanted to get into the club for free. They might have wanted a free bottle of something, whatever. But it made me feel good. It filled me up where I was, you know, where I was feeling lacking. And in the process of doing that, I started drinking every day, you know, because I had to promote parties, and I didn't. I never thought of myself as like somebody who abused alcohol, because all the people that I was surrounded with did the same thing.
Right.
So I was just, you know, the biggest fish in this pond, but it's still in the pond of a bunch of people that were swimming in all kinds of, you know, self-destructive behavior. So that's where it started, and I did that for 8 or 9 years. So I remember I was going to the bathroom one day, and I'm doing the math because I do my best thinking when I'm on the toilet. I was thinking, I'm like, you know, I probably drank an entire swimming pool full of vodka and Red Bull over the last 10 years. Because I started doing the calculation of how much I drank in a night, and I was like, that's a lot. Like, my body is processing all this stuff, and I realized it, but it didn't stop me. I kept on doing it, and it was insanity, because I would get really, really wasted, and I would drive home and not get caught. And then the next day I'd be like, oh, I'm not going to drive again. You know, I'm going to limit myself. And, you know, I might have had 8 drinks the one night, and then I'll have 11 the next night. Even though I said going into the night I'm not going to do it, I did it even more. And I was always somebody that pushed further. And in some ways in business, that's a great trait. But in other areas, the extreme, you know, being an extremist can be really, really deadly.
Stay tuned for more of Ask the Messengers.
5 days. 5 days is all it takes to become addicted to opioid prescription drugs. Don't let the stigma of shame associated with drug addiction keep you from getting the help you need. Take the first step. Pick up the phone. Let us assist you with creating a path to your recovery. No judgment. Call FHLOC today at 248-308-3659. 248-308-3659.
Do you need a banner, brochure, or business cards? What about posters or funeral programs? No matter what your design and printing needs are, R&L Color Graphics can help. R&L Color Graphics has been serving the metropolitan area for more than 25 years and has also been honored to be the official printing partner for the Aretha Franklin Family Foundation. So if you're looking for an official Aretha Franklin funeral program, tribute item, or custom design job, give us a call at 313-345-3838 or visit us on the web at rnlcolor.com.
Welcome, Judge Mathis. Thanks for coming to share an important message with the Wayne County taxpayers.
Well, thank you for allowing me to help. You know, most of my life I was a resident of Wayne County, and so I'm here to help because Treasurer Shabri wants to work with Wayne County homeowners to keep families in their homes and prevent foreclosure.
If you're having trouble making your property tax payments, let us know. We have many resources to help.
Take the first step towards staying in your home by going down to the Wayne County Treasurer's office on the 5th floor of the International Building in Greektown.
Stop by today to learn more about our payment plans and especially the newly extended interest rate reduction program.
Already in the payment plan? It's important you stay in good standing.
Making property tax payments is now easier than ever. We have placed payment kiosks in Rite Aid stores and community centers across the county. We've also added kiosks in our offices. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com.
Can you tell us what was your drug of choice?
Alcohol.
Okay. Now, who introduced you to alcohol?
Well, like my family always drank, so it was always around me, but it wasn't until my parents actually got divorced was when I first took my first drink, and then at that time I drank a whole bottle of gin Tanqueray by myself, and I mean, I was throwing up everywhere. I still to this day can't drink gin, but I drink a lot of other things. But yeah.
So tell us, what did that do to your years, your teenage years, your adulthood years?
Well, like I said, I started at 16, so in high school, I was like a straight A advanced honors student, but I was going to class with a Coke bottle filled with rum and Diet Coke. So I'd go to class drinking, and I started drinking on a daily basis. You know, when I got to college, it got even worse, you know, so it just got out of control and out of hand. I didn't think I had a problem, you know. It took like my family telling me like, hey, you know, you drink a lot, you drink a lot. And I'm like, I didn't see it. At the time, I did not see it. It didn't take till like later on in life when I was an adult and I noticed it started affecting me at work, you know, and that's when I knew I kind of had a problem.
Can you tell us, what was your drug of choice?
Sure, mostly alcohol, but as we know, alcohol leads to other things.
So now, how were you introduced and how old were you?
Well, to be honest, mostly the military kind of gives this whole drinking camaraderie, and I think I learned how to drink a lot while I was in the service.
Okay, now you were in the service. How were you serving and you had, you know, addiction? How was that? How did that work?
That was the beginning of my addiction. Okay. So I had this fake idea that you could actually have a what do they call it, like a working alcoholic, right? Yeah. So you go to work all day and then you come home and drink all night and you feel terrible, but that's what you do, and you just have this continuous cycle till I was out of the military, and then the alcohol just kicks in all the time.
What was your drug of choice?
Alcohol.
And how old were you when you first picked up?
21.
And how did it come about?
I had my first drink with a very popular, famous producer. And I just took that drink because I didn't want to say no.
Welcome back again to Ask the Messengers. I am Lester Lewis, your host, and we are again having a great conversation with Joe Zago. Now, you've got one of the greatest jingles that a company can ever have. And how did you come up with that jingle? How was it? Because I'm sure that even before we got to this part, they were probably singing a jingle before we even got to this interview.
I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit.
Okay.
You know, because I don't like conforming to other people's rules. I always want to do on my own.
Yeah.
When I was doing the nightclub stuff, we had this show that we created because I used to bring a video camera into the bars and I'd record people doing stupid stuff when they were drunk. And one of the funniest people that we thought at the time was my neighbor. It was neighbor Tom. And neighbor Tom would and he actually works here in our warehouse, and he's doing awesome now. But back then he was like the life of the party. I mean, he'd get really drunk. He'd do this really rambunctious, crazy things. And so we had like 50 or 60 hours of just this raw jackass type footage. And so I watched MTV, and they had this show that Dick House produced called Jackass. Yeah. And you know, these guys are riding tricycles down hills and just wiping out and hurting themselves. I mean, neighbor Tom jumped off roofs and did all, I mean, he was crazy. Riding a unicycle with somebody on there, you know, I mean, with a cone on it. I mean, he did all kinds of stuff. And so I tried to sell the idea of the neighbor Tom show to Jackass, the Dick House who produced Jackass. In the process, I met a guy in LA called, his name was John Montgomery. He did all the sound for the Jackass films. Yeah. Him and I are great friends. I've never met him face to face, but we talk, you know, 3 or 4 times a week through the internet and what have you. And he produced a lot of stuff for a lot of things in LA. And when I used to sell carpet for other stores, they, you know, didn't matter what carpet store it was. I'd knock on the door and the little kid would say, "Hey, Mom, the carpet guy's here." Okay, and you know, so the name the Carpet Guys just made sense. Right. And then the number 855 for my guys was available, so I bought that. And then when I got together with John Montgomery from the producers of Jackass, he put together this jingle and had a female voiceover that, you know, be wise, call the Carpet Guys at 855 for my guys.
See, he sung it. He sung it. We got it. He sung it.
It was great. And so now it's like this thing that can't get out of people's heads.
Right. But yes, it is. It's infectious and it's wonderful. Now, I do want to ask you this question because I think this is very important to our audience. How long have you been sober, and what keeps you sober?
I've had a rocky road. I was first introduced to recovery 20 years ago. Okay. And the thing that kept reoccurring in my life was when I'm down and out, like I was saying, I'd be on my knees praying to God and begging for another chance, and he'd give me another chance. And then I'd get on my 2 feet again, brush myself off, start walking, and then I go, I don't need you anymore, God. I got this. And I used to get involved in recovery groups and 12-step meetings, and when things were really bad in my life, I would go to meetings, I would share, I would get the help, and it kept me sober. And eventually my ego, when I started getting some success and I started getting some time under my belt, my ego would take control, and I'd say, I don't need you anymore, I got this. I thought I'm cured. And then, you know, I'd stay sober for a few more months, maybe a few more years, and then I'd go, you know, the stars would line up. I'd think, I could drink again like a gentleman, and I would drink. And then I'd just limit myself to 2. It became another drunk, and then along with it came, you know, the poor judgment and the clouded vision and everything else that would come along with it, until eventually, you know, something would smack me back in place. I'd get arrested. Oh crap, I forgot about that. I shouldn't have done that.
Right.
Okay, I'll never do it again. Just get me out of this one more time. I promise, I promise, I promise. I'll go to meetings. I'll do this. I'll get a sponsor, you know, and it'll be a sponsor that I choose that you know, won't hold me accountable, of course, because I don't want to listen to anybody. And the biggest challenge that I've had, being the A personality type that I recognize that I am, I'm a control freak, is that I don't want to admit defeat. And I have to admit complete defeat, because if I don't admit complete defeat, I'll go out again, and I will self-destruct some more. And so I have to go to meetings. Even when I feel that things are great, I have got to go there, because I can't forget, because I forget the pain really quickly. If I don't stay sober, eventually I will get sick again. And I will fail, and I will hurt all these people and their families in the process, because that's what I do. When I self-destruct, whoever's on the ship with me, we're all on the Titanic, I'm just, you know, I'm steering it into destruction. And the only way that I can prevent and help protect those people's families who get a check from my company every week is to make sure that I stay sober, and I'm going in a clear direction. And so I got to do the things that I need to do, go to meetings and have a sponsor and work the steps, and that helps.
Okay. Well, Joe, listen, I want to thank you so much for your story and for sharing with us, also your success.
Thank you.
Because you're helping so many people to realize that whatever they're dealing with doesn't have to be the final word.
We'll be right back with more of Ask the Messengers.
I'm Artesia Washington, and I'd like to welcome you to Irvine Head Injury, where restoring you to your previous level of functioning is our goal. We offer services such as physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech and language pathology, aquatic therapy, massage therapy, and counseling. An automobile accident is an unfortunate event. If you feel that you or a loved one can benefit from our services, you can be reached at 248-415-2500. We look forward to hearing from you.
Changing an addict's life and providing support to the addict's family is the goal of the Live Right Structured Recovery Corps. Live Right offers art recovery, yoga, and spiritual recovery classes, Naranon, automotive maintenance training, and refuge recovery. Live Right also welcomes the LBGT community. Live Right also accepts donations of cars, trucks, boats, and campers in any condition. For more information and a complete list of their events, go to their website at liverightstructuredcorp.com or call 586-217-5899. Life short, live right.
Do you need a banner, brochure, or business cards? What about posters or funeral programs? No matter what your design and printing needs are, R&L Color Graphics can help. R&L Color Graphics has been serving the metropolitan area for more than 25 years and has also been honored to be the official printing partner for the Aretha Franklin Family Foundation. So if you're looking for an official Aretha Franklin funeral program, tribute item, or custom design job, give us a call at 313-345-3838 or visit us on the web at rnlcolor.com.
When did you hit rock bottom?
I would have to say I got arrested, and at that time I realized, you know, I need a change in my life. I need to do something to change it, and I figured jail would help me. You know, if I went away to jail for a little while, I could clean up and get sober, and it worked for a little while. You know, it did work, but you know, I got out and I was sober for a little while, but then, you know, those same old demons came back to haunt me, and I started drinking again. Yeah. When I really hit rock bottom was, I would have to say, like maybe a couple of years ago, and I got put in jail again, and I was like, man, I can't be doing this anymore. I need to change my life, and that's when I decided I needed some help. Some professional help. So that's when I found out about the Salvation Army's program, and I put myself into it.
During my rock bottom, I actually had gone through a period of time where I would get on my knees and just pray, Lord, help me. I didn't know anything about recovery. I didn't know it was possible, and I would just cry and pray, Lord, help me, because I didn't even know what else to pray. And so my rock bottom happened through actually some domestic violence through me. The cops came to my house, and I decided to run outside and tell them to get off my property. And after spending a night in jail, well, that still didn't quite do it. Finally, my parents came and picked me up from my house, and they were the ones who introduced me to recovery and told me that they heard of somebody who went to rehab. I'm like, what the hell is rehab? Right. And so that's how I found my saving grace.
And what was the moment that brought you to your knees where you said, look, enough is enough, I need some help?
I call it a spiritual awakening. One day I was just in my hotel room, and I I had like this overwhelming feeling to stop. Now, it had been a few times where I told myself I was gonna slow down, you know, so I would switch to like wine, only drink on the weekends. Anybody who's in recovery knows that does not work, you know what I mean? So one day I just had like this overwhelming feeling and I decided to stop. So I called everybody I loved and told them I was gonna stop. And I took all the steps to do it. You know, I went to the hospital, I went to the church, I went everywhere, you know what I mean? And I haven't had a drink since.
Welcome back to Ask the Messengers. I am here, Lester Lewis, your host, and we are here with DJ Fingers, world-renowned DJ from the city of Detroit. Have you seen and witnessed and been a part of at least a setting where drugs are being used in the clubs?
Honestly, oh yeah, a lot of times, man. You know, but you know, actually, it's weird about that. And I'm glad you said that because they come in the club high anyway.
Right. So before they get there, they're already high.
They on 10. Most drugs I have seen was like rave parties.
Okay.
Rave parties, you know, they sell the balloons, they sell which is helium. They sell the ecstasy pills, which they probably don't have no more. They changed it to Molly now.
Right.
You know, and I couldn't understand how they was using this stuff, you know, to party. And as for me, it's different because I don't do anything, but I still have a good time.
So a lot of people would ask that question, and you know, how do you maintain and don't get involved with that, and you're around it all the time? How do you do that?
Because I never liked it, because I always saw what it did to people. You know, everybody has a family member that was on drugs. I don't care who you are, what you did, where you at, who you live with, whatever. Everybody has a family member or members that did drugs before. And you don't want to live like that. So you have to make up in your mind and say, I ain't going to be like that. I ain't doing that. And that was for me. I took DJing for me to stay off the streets. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I grew up straight up in Black Bottom, Shane Street and on Grandy Street, right over there. So I seen everything. I mean, killings, all that. And as I see it, I be like, oh, man, I don't want to be like that. I just don't, man. You know, everybody has a history of where they grew up at, but me, when I tell you I seen everything, I seen everything.
Well, listen, man, we could sit here and talk all day, and you know we could, and I look forward to talking to you some more. But thank you for your story. Thank you for your experiences, brother.
Good, man.
And you know, we appreciate you. I am so glad to have this as a brother, DJ Fingers. And for
man, I'm gonna have to get the pass on some turns.
For those of y'all who don't know, I used to DJ before I became a pastor. I was DJ Flex back in the day. So, and again, we grew up together, loving music together. And of course, we experienced the club scene together. Changing an addict's life and providing support to the addict's family is the goal of the Live Right Structured Recovery Corp. Live Right offers art recovery, yoga, and spiritual recovery classes, Naranon, automotive maintenance training, and refuge recovery. Live Right also welcomes the LBGT community. Live Right also accepts donations of cars, trucks, boats, and campers in any condition. For more information and a complete list of their events, go to their website at liverightstructuredcorp.com or call 586-217-5899. Life short, live right.
5 days. 5 days is all it takes to become addicted to opioid prescription drugs. Don't let the stigma of shame associated with drug addiction keep you from getting the help you need. Take the first step. Pick up the phone. Let us assist you with creating a path to your recovery. No judgment. Call FHLOC today at 248-308-3659. 248-308-3659.
After receiving a delinquent property tax bill for the 2 lots connected to my home, I was concerned. I didn't even know that I had a past due bill. I went down to the Wayne County Treasurer's office, and the staff worked with me to keep my property out of foreclosure.
My property taxes became delinquent after I fell behind on my bills. Treasurer Sabri and his staff came to the town hall in my city and provided information about resources available to help me. At the meeting, I found out about payment plan options.
Let us help you. Our goal is 0 owner-occupied properties getting foreclosed and going to the auction. Come down to our office at 400 Monroe in downtown Detroit on the 5th floor. Call 313-224-5990 during our normal business hours from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and until 6:30 p.m. on Wednesdays. or email textinfo@waynecounty.com for assistance. Take the first step. Contact our office today.
It worked for us.
What keeps me going is God, really, Christ. Putting my faith in something, that's more than I am, higher than myself. I ask God every day to comfort those afflicted by addiction, and I ask Him to comfort me because I am one of those afflicted by addiction. Whether it's alcohol or drugs or sex or gambling, I ask God to comfort everybody that is afflicted by addiction and to help them that they find God, and through Him they can overcome their addiction. Because I think that's really important, having the spiritual aspect of the program that I'm in. So I've seen that, yeah.
Just keep going. One day at a time, one moment at a time. Hang in there, things get better. Any kind of affirmations that you can use for whatever it is that you're going through, whether it's I am healthy, I am successful, I am wealthy, I am loved. Write them down and put them everywhere so that your subconscious mind can't take over anymore.
We got this need, we got this dying, deserving need to fit in. Don't worry about fitting in, just be yourself. As soon as I laid back and I just decided to just be me and stand for just what I stand for and not follow the crowd, it's worked out well for me. Don't follow the crowd, don't just do things. It's called peer pressure, you know what I mean? Don't try to blend in with the crowd, you just be you, just do you.
There are individuals who are in the club who are struggling. We just want to make sure that you know this information and make sure that you're aware that when you go to the club, be careful. Because if you sit your drink down or if you do something, anybody could slip anything into your drink and it could be detrimental to your life. And so we just want to let you know here at Ask the Messengers, we appreciate you tuning in, and we believe here at Ask the Messengers that love is what love does, and we want to love you to life. We'll see you next time on Ask the Messengers.
I'll be right back. Hi! You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that? Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
Won't you help us to do exactly what our motto is, and that is to help save lives? Won't you send a generous donation to the information there on the screen? We would love to have you as part of our partnership to help save lives. You may not be able to go out in the street, you may not be able to come here to the show, but you can send your donation that helps us save lives.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.